Nothing says marital doom quite like truth or dare with Meera and tequila. I should have known better than to let Claire drag me to another one of her friends' birthday parties, especially when the hostess greets us at the door wearing a tiara that says, "Birthday Witch," and hands me a shot glass before I've even crossed the threshold. "Gavin!" Meera squeals, throwing her arms around me like we're long-lost lovers instead of reluctant acquaintances who tolerate each other for Claire's sake. "So glad you could make it. Claire said you might have to work late." Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I glance at my wife, who's already scanning the room for more interesting company. Nope. Cleared my schedule. Wouldn't miss it for the world. The sarcasm drips off my tongue like honey, but Meera's too drunk to notice. Claire's already migrating toward the kitchen where I can hear familiar laughter. Elias Greer's laugh, specifically, that practiced gym instructor chuckle that sounds like it was workshopped for maximum charm. I've been hearing it a lot lately, usually followed by Claire's giggle, the one she used to reserve for me back when dinosaurs roamed the earth and we actually liked each other. The party's the usual suspects: Meera's fitness crowd, a handful of Claire's yoga friends, and enough athleisure wear to stock a Lululemon. I'm the only guy here wearing actual jeans instead of designer joggers that cost more than my weekly grocery budget. As a custom furniture maker, I'm basically a caveman among these wellness warriors who think manual labor is something you pay other people to do. Gavin makes the most beautiful dining tables, Claire announces to no one in particular as I join the kitchen cluster. She's standing next to Elias, who's wearing a tank top that shows off his perfectly sculpted shoulders. Of course he is. "That's nice," says Jenna, one of Meera's yoga instructor friends, with the kind of polite smile you give someone's boring uncle. "Very practical." Practical. There's a word that's been following me around like a lost dog lately. Claire's practical husband with his practical job and his practical pickup truck parked next to all the BMWs and Audis outside. Elias extends his hand with that winning smile of his. "We haven't officially met. Elias Greer. I teach spin at Claire's gym." "Gavin Rourke," I reply, gripping his hand just a little too firmly. I make things that last. The double meaning isn't lost on him, but he just laughs it off. Everything's a joke to guys like Elias. Life's just one big spin class where everyone's sweating, but nobody's actually going anywhere. 2 hours and several rounds of drinks later, Meera claps her hands together like a kindergarten teacher calling for attention. "Okay, people. Birthday tradition time. We're playing Truth or Dare." A collective groan goes up from the group, but it's the kind of performative resistance that means everyone's secretly excited. These people live for drama, as long as it's not their own. We arrange ourselves in a circle on Meera's white leather sectional that probably costs more than my truck. Claire positions herself directly across from me, with Elias to her right. Convenient. "Birthday girl goes first," Meera announces, spinning an empty wine bottle on the coffee table. It lands on Jenna, who chooses truth like the good girl she is. "Who's the worst kisser you've ever been with?" Meera asks. Jenna blushes and names some guy from college, and everyone laughs. The bottle makes its rounds, landing on various victims who choose mostly truths, safe confessions about celebrity crushes and embarrassing moments. Then it lands on Claire. "Truth or dare, gorgeous?" Meera asks, with the kind of wicked grin that should come with a warning label. Claire's had just enough wine to make poor decisions. "Dare." Meera's eyes light up like Christmas morning. "I dare you to rank everyone here from most to least dateable." The room goes quiet. This is the kind of dare that ends friendships and starts fights, which is exactly why Meera suggested it. Claire glances around the circle, her cheeks flushed from wine and attention. "Well," she says, drawing out the word, "if I weren't married." She points to Elias first. "Definitely you. You've got that whole mysterious bad boy thing going on." "Mysterious bad boy?" The guy teaches spin classes and drives a BMW with a Spinder license plate. But sure, mysterious. She continues around the circle, ranking the other guys present. Meera's neighbor, some fitness blogger, a guy who apparently sells supplements. I'm dead last after the supplement salesman. And my dear husband, she says, looking directly at me with a smile that doesn't reach her eyes, gets the loyalty award for being stuck with me already. Everyone laughs except me. I'm too busy calculating how many years of marriage just got flushed down the toilet for the sake of party entertainment. But I smile anyway, because that's what practical husbands do. The bottle spins again and lands on Elias. He chooses dare, because of course he does. I dare you to describe your ideal woman, says Jenna, who's apparently feeling bolder after her second glass of wine. Elias doesn't hesitate. Someone who takes care of herself, you know? Physically, mentally, spiritually. Someone who's not afraid to try new things, who's passionate about life. Someone who… He glances at Claire. Someone who doesn't settle for boring. The word hits me like a slap. Boring. That's what I am now, apparently. Boring Gavin with his boring job and his boring reliability. Claire's practically glowing under his attention, and I realize I'm watching my marriage die in real time, one party game at a time. The worst part? Everyone else can see it too. They're all pretending not to notice, but the sideways glances and uncomfortable shifts tell the real story. When the bottle finally lands on me, I choose truth, mostly because I don't trust Meera not to dare me to do something that ends with assault charges. What's the one thing about your marriage you'd change if you could? Meera asks. The room goes dead silent. This is it, the moment where I either play along with the charade or blow everything up. I look at Claire, who's suddenly very interested in her wine glass. I'd change the part where my wife ranks other men higher than me at parties, I say evenly. The silence stretches like a rubber band about to snap. Then Elias laughs, that same practiced chuckle, and the tension breaks. "Aw, come on, man. It's just a game," he says. Just a game, right. Like the way Claire's been working out twice as much lately is just fitness. Like the way she's been checking her phone constantly is just social media. Like the way she lights up around him is just friendliness. The party winds down after that, with everyone suddenly remembering early morning plans. Claire and I say our goodbyes, and I notice she hugs Elias just a little too long, her hand lingering on his arm. The drive home is 20 minutes of Arctic silence. Claire stares out the passenger window like she's memorizing the landscape, and I focus on the road because looking at her right now might result in us having the conversation we're both avoiding. We've hit the iceberg, but I'm still rearranging deck chairs, hoping nobody notices we're sinking. Back home, Claire disappears into the bathroom for her nightly routine, while I let our dog Rex out for his final walk of the day. The house feels different somehow, like the foundation has shifted just enough to make everything slightly off-kilter. When I come back inside, Claire's already in bed, curled up on her side with her back to my half of the mattress. The invisible wall between us has never felt more solid. "Claire," I say quietly, "I'm tired, Gavin. Can we just… not tonight?" Not tonight. When exactly would be a good time to discuss how my wife just publicly ranked me below a supplement salesman in terms of dateability? When would be convenient to address the fact that she's obviously got a thing for her spin instructor? I lie there, staring at the ceiling, listening to her breathe, wondering when we became strangers sharing a mortgage. Somewhere in the house, my phone buzzes with what's probably a text from my buddy Vince asking how the party went. How do you explain that you just watched your marriage get dissected for entertainment? The next morning, I wake up alone. Claire's side of the bed is cold, which means she's been up for a while. I can hear her moving around downstairs, probably getting ready for her Saturday morning workout. With Elias, I find her in the kitchen, dressed in her expensive athletic wear, hair pulled back in a perfect ponytail. She's checking her phone with the kind of focused attention she used to give me. "Morning," I say, heading for the coffee maker. She barely looks up. Morning. Listen, about last night. It was just a stupid party game, Gavin. Don't make it into something it's not. But I can see her screen from where I'm standing, and the text message that's got her attention isn't from her gym scheduling app. It's from someone saved in her contacts as E with a heart emoji. Miss you already. Can't wait for our session later. The coffee tastes like ash in my mouth. Who's E? I ask, trying to keep my voice casual. Claire's thumb moves lightning fast, closing the message. What? The text. From E with the heart. Her face goes through several expressions before settling on defensive. It's probably just Eliza from work. Eliza. Right. Eliza, who apparently misses my wife and can't wait for their session. Eliza, who rates heart emojis. Since when do you and Eliza text about missing each other? Claire's jaw tightens. Since when do you read my messages over my shoulder? Since my wife started getting love notes from mysterious contacts. The words hang in the air between us like smoke. Claire's face flushes, but it's anger, not embarrassment. You're being paranoid and controlling, and I don't like it, she says, shoving her phone into her gym bag. I'm going to work out, don't wait up. She's out the door before I can respond, leaving me standing in our kitchen with cold coffee and the sudden crystal-clear realization that my marriage isn't just in trouble, it's over. Has been for a while, probably. I've just been too practical, too boring, too trusting to see it. For the first time in months, the house is completely quiet. No Claire rushing around, no passive-aggressive comments about dishes in the sink or bills that need paying. Just me and Rex and the sound of my world quietly falling apart. I should probably feel devastated, betrayed, angry. Instead, I feel something I haven't experienced in years. Relief. Like I've been holding my breath underwater and finally made it to the surface. But relief doesn't last long because as I'm cleaning up Claire's breakfast dishes, I find something she left behind in her rush to get to her session with E, her tablet, still open to her photo gallery. And right there on the screen, in living color, is a collection of selfies I've never seen before. Clare and Elias, looking very much like people who do more than discuss spin class schedules. Claire in lingerie I don't recognize, taken in what's clearly a hotel room. Elias shirtless, with Claire's lipstick on his collar. Receipts from expensive restaurants I've never been to, jewelry I've never seen her wear, hotel bars in parts of town where we don't go. My hands shake as I scroll through months of evidence that my wife has been living an entire secret life. The timestamps show they've been meeting during her extended workout sessions and girls' nights out. The credit card receipts show she's been spending money we don't have on a relationship that isn't with me, but it's the last photo that really gets me. Clare and Elias in what looks like his apartment, her wearing a necklace that cost more than I make in a month, both of them laughing at something off camera. The caption reads, "When you finally find someone who gets you." I set the tablet down very carefully, because throwing it against the wall won't change what I just saw. Won't change the fact that my wife of 8 years has been playing house with her spin instructor while I've been home building furniture and paying bills like the practical, boring husband I apparently am. Rex wanders over and puts his head on my knee, sensing something's wrong. At least someone in this house still likes me. My phone buzzes. Text from Vince. How was the party? Claire still trying to turn you into a yoga person? I start typing a response, then delete it. Then start again. How do you tell your best friend that you just discovered your wife's secret life through party games and forgotten tablets? How do you explain that you're not even surprised, just tired? Instead, I text back. Party was educational. You free for a beer later? Always. Everything okay? I look around the kitchen. Claire and I picked out together, at the table I built by hand, at the life we constructed that apparently wasn't enough for her. Define okay, I type back. Then I pour myself another cup of coffee, sit down at my handmade table, and start planning what comes next. Because if Claire thinks boring, practical Gavin is just going to roll over and let her destroy our life for spin-class romance, she's about to learn exactly how wrong she is. I'm not a detective, but Google Calendar is a hell of a snitch. Over the next few days, while Claire continues her charade of normalcy, I become a student of her schedule. Turns out, when you've been married to someone for 8 years, you know their patterns well enough to spot the lies. Claire's Tuesday evening yoga has been happening at the same time Elias posts Instagram stories from his apartment. Her Saturday morning hikes with the girls coincide perfectly with his recovery day posts featuring expensive brunches for two. She's been living a double life with the organizational skills of a CIA operative and the subtlety of a neon sign. The beautiful thing about cheaters is they always think they're smarter than they are. Claire's been so careful about deleting texts and clearing browser history that she forgot about the automatic backup to our shared cloud storage. Every photo, every receipt, every piece of evidence of her affair has been quietly uploading to servers I have full access to. I'm sitting in my workshop Wednesday evening, scrolling through months of documentation, when my phone buzzes. Claire, texting from her book club. Running late tonight. Don't wait up. Love you. Love you. The casual cruelty of it hits harder than I expected. She's telling me she loves me while she's probably getting ready to spend the night with him. I screenshot the message, check the timestamp, and add it to my growing collection. 20 minutes later, Elias posts an Instagram story. Expensive wine, dim lighting, 2 glasses on a table. The location tag says, "Home Sweet Home." I'm not proud of what I do next, but desperate times call for desperate measures. I drive to his apartment complex, a sleek high-rise in the trendy part of downtown that screams, "I make money convincing people to pedal bikes that don't go anywhere." Claire's car is in the visitor parking, tucked between a Tesla and a Porsche like she belongs here. I park across the street and wait. This is what rock bottom looks like, apparently. A grown man sitting in his pickup truck, spying on his own wife like some discount private investigator. But I need to see it with my own eyes, need to confirm what I already know. They don't disappoint. At 10:47 p.m. they emerge from the building, Claire wearing a dress I've never seen and laughing at something Elias whispered in her ear. He's got his hand on the small of her back, the same gesture I used to make when we went out together. They walk to her car like lovers, which I suppose they are. I follow them to an upscale bar I recognize from the receipts I found. Through the window, I watch them share appetizers and intimate conversation. Claire touches his arm when she laughs. He feeds her olives from his martini. They look like people falling in love, which would be touching if one of them wasn't married to me. I take photos, not because I'm planning to use them in court. California's no-fault divorce laws make adultery legally irrelevant, but because I need proof this is really happening. That I'm not losing my mind, that the woman I married really is capable of this level of deception. They leave the bar at midnight, and I follow them back to his place. Claire's car stays in visitor parking until 6 a.m. when she finally drives home. I know because I sit there all night, drinking gas station coffee and wondering when I became the kind of man who stakes out his wife's lover's apartment. When I get home, Claire's in the shower, washing off the evidence of her night out. I pretend to be asleep when she slips into bed, smelling like expensive soap and someone else's cologne. "How was book club?" I ask quietly. "Good," she whispers back. "We discussed The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo." Even her lies have become literary. I almost admire the commitment to theme. Thursday morning, I decide to stop pretending. Claire's at the kitchen table, scrolling through her phone and eating yogurt, when I set the printed photos down next to her coffee cup. Her face goes white, then red, then settles into something I've never seen before. Cold calculation. "You followed me," she says. Not a question, not a denial, just a statement of fact. "I didn't have to follow very far. Your boyfriend's not exactly subtle about his social media presence." She pushes the photos away like they're contaminated. This isn't what it looks like. Really? Because it looks like my wife having dinner and spending the night with her spin instructor. What does it look like to you? Claire's jaw tightens. It looks like you don't trust me. The audacity is breathtaking. You're right. I don't trust you. Turns out my instincts were correct. She stands up abruptly, knocking over her coffee cup. The dark liquid spreads across the table, soaking into the photos. You want to know the truth, Gavin? Fine. Yes, I'm seeing Elias. Yes, I have feelings for him. And you know what? I'm not sorry. There it is. The confession I've been dreading and hoping for in equal measure. How long? Does it matter? It matters to me. She sighs like I'm being unreasonable. 3 months. Maybe 4. 4 months. A third of a year of lies, secret meetings, and playing house with another man while I built furniture and paid bills and believed we were working through a rough patch. Why, I ask, though I'm not sure I want the answer. Because he sees me, Gavin. Really sees me. When I'm with him, I remember who I used to be before I became half of this boring suburban couple. Boring. There's that word again. What exactly is boring about our life? Everything! The word explodes out of her. The same routine every day, the same conversations, the same everything. You come home covered in sawdust. We eat dinner while watching Netflix. You fall asleep reading woodworking magazines. When's the last time we did anything spontaneous? When's the last time you looked at me like I was exciting instead of just there? I want to argue, but the truth is, she's not entirely wrong. Somewhere along the way, we stopped being lovers and became roommates. But I thought we were building something together, creating a life that mattered. Apparently, Claire was just serving time. So you decided to fix our problems by sleeping with someone else? I decided to remember what it feels like to be wanted. The words hit like a physical blow. I want you. She shakes her head. You want the idea of me, the wife who keeps your house clean and splits the bills and doesn't cause problems. Elias wants me. Elias wants to sleep with a married woman. That's not the same thing. Claire's laugh is bitter. At least he wants something. We stare at each other across the wreckage of our kitchen table. 8 years of marriage reduced to coffee stains and accusations. I should feel angry, but mostly I just feel tired. What do you want to do about this? I ask finally. I want you to understand that this isn't about hurting you. It's about me finding myself again. By screwing your spin instructor. By being with someone who makes me feel alive. I nod slowly, processing this information. Okay, go be alive with him. Claire blinks. What? You heard me. Go be with Elias. Be spontaneous. Be exciting. Be whatever you think you need to be. You're okay with this? I'm not okay with being lied to and cheated on, but I'm okay with you leaving. In fact, I think you should. She wasn't expecting this. She was probably hoping for a fight, some dramatic confrontation that would make her feel justified in her choices. Instead, I'm giving her permission to go, and she doesn't know how to process it. Just like that? Just like that. Pack your things, Claire. Go where you feel seen. For a moment, she looks uncertain, like she's realizing this conversation isn't going the way she planned. Then her phone buzzes with a text, and I watch her face light up as she reads it. Elias, no doubt, wondering where she is. Fine, she says, straightening her shoulders. I'll pack some things and stay at Meera's while I figure out next steps. Take your time. I'll be here whenever you're ready to discuss lawyers. She stares at me like I've become a stranger. You're different. No, I'm just done pretending everything's fine when it's not. Claire leaves that afternoon with 2 suitcases and a guilty conscience she's trying hard not to show. I help her load her car because even in divorce, practical habits die hard. Gavin, she says as she's backing out of the driveway, I really didn't want it to happen this way. How did you want it to happen? She doesn't have an answer for that. That night, I sleep better than I have in months. The house is quiet. Rex has claimed Claire's side of the bed, and for the first time in years, I don't have to pretend to be happy. It's liberating in a way I didn't expect. But liberation doesn't last long because Friday morning I wake up to someone pounding on my front door. It's 7 a.m., too early for social calls, too insistent for delivery drivers. I open the door to find 2 police officers looking official and slightly bored. Gavin Rourke? That's me. We need you to come with us, sir. There's been a complaint filed against you. My stomach drops. What kind of complaint? The older officer checks his notepad. Domestic violence, stalking, and harassment. Your wife says she's afraid for her safety. I stare at them, processing this information. Claire filed a police report. Claire, who left voluntarily yesterday after confessing to an affair, is now claiming I'm dangerous. There's been a mistake, I say carefully. That's what they all say, sir. We need you to come with us so we can sort this out. As I'm getting dressed, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Told you she was afraid. Stay away from both of us if you know what's good for you. Elias. Threatening me via text message while his girlfriend files false police reports. These people have clearly thought this through, which means I'm not dealing with a simple affair anymore. I'm dealing with something much more calculated. At the police station, I learn that Claire has provided photos of bruises on her arms and neck, claiming I grabbed her during an argument. She's filed for a restraining order and told a very convincing story about my escalating behavior and obsessive surveillance. The bruises are real. I can see them in the photos. But I've never laid a hand on Claire in anger, never even raised my voice until yesterday's kitchen confrontation, which means either she's lying about how she got them or someone else put them there. Someone like Elias, who's apparently into rougher play than his Instagram persona suggests. Mr. Rourke, says Detective Martinez, a tired-looking woman who's probably seen this scenario 1,000 times. Your wife seems genuinely frightened. She says you've been following her, taking photos, making threats. I did follow her, I took photos, but I never threatened her. She says otherwise. She's lying. Martinez sighs. They always are, according to you guys. I realize I'm in an impossible position. Claire's gotten ahead of the story, painted herself as the victim, and me as the abuser. She's used evidence of my surveillance against me, while conveniently leaving out the part about her affair. Brilliant, really. Detective, my wife has been having an affair for 4 months. I have proof. The photos I took were of her with her boyfriend. That doesn't give you the right to stalk her. I wasn't stalking. I was trying to understand why my marriage was falling apart. By following her to restaurants and taking pictures? When she puts it like that, I sound like exactly the kind of man who might escalate to violence. Claire and Elias have played this perfectly. They release me 6 hours later with a warning and a temporary restraining order that prohibits me from contacting Claire or coming within 500 feet of her. I'm officially the bad guy in this story now, despite being the one who was cheated on and lied to. Walking to my truck in the police station parking lot, I feel something I haven't experienced since childhood, the burning injustice of being punished for something I didn't do. But I also feel something else, something that surprises me with its intensity. Rage, pure, focused, clarifying rage. Claire and Elias think they've won. They think they've neutralized the boring husband and cleared the path for their grand romance. They think I'm going to slink away and lick my wounds while they live happily ever after on the ruins of my life. They're about to learn exactly how wrong they are, because if they want to play games, I'm ready to play. And unlike truth or dare at birthday parties, this is a game I intend to win. Turns out, the justice system loves a weepy blonde with a yoga mat and a sob story about her scary husband. The restraining order is official as of Monday morning, which means I'm legally prohibited from contacting the woman who's been sleeping in another man's bed while I paid her credit card bills. I'm sitting in my workshop, staring at the legal papers, when my phone rings. Vince Moretti, my oldest friend and the closest thing I have to a brother. He's been bouncing at downtown clubs for the past 5 years, ever since he left the LAPD under circumstances he still won't discuss. Heard you had some excitement this weekend, he says without preamble. News travels fast. My old partner Martinez called me, said you got jammed up on a domestic beef. Detective Martinez. Of course she knows Vince. Your old partner thinks I'm a wife beater. My old partner thinks everyone's guilty of something. What's the real story? I give him the abbreviated version. The affair, the confrontation, the false accusations. Vince listens without interrupting, which is one of the reasons we've been friends for 20 years. So your wife's been playing house with some gym rat, and when you called her on it, she flipped the script and made you the bad guy. That's about the size of it. Classic move. I've seen it a dozen times. Cheating spouse gets caught, files a restraining order to control the narrative and gain leverage in divorce proceedings. Leverage for what? Everything, brother. House, money, custody if you had kids. She's not just covering her affair, she's positioning herself to take you to the cleaners. The pieces click into place. This isn't just about Claire finding herself or feeling alive or any of the other bullshit she fed me. This is about money. Our house is worth 3 times what we paid for it. My business has been growing steadily, and California's community property laws mean she's entitled to half of everything. But if she can prove I'm abusive, she might be able to claim more. And if I violate the restraining order, even accidentally, I could end up with criminal charges that would make her case even stronger. They played this smart, I admit. They played it smart so far, but they made one mistake. What's that? They screwed up with Gavin Rourke, and I remember what happens to people who do that. Vince is referring to an incident from our college days involving a fraternity president who thought it would be funny to destroy a coffee table I'd spent weeks building for my dorm room. The guy ended up naked, duct-taped to a flagpole, covered in honey and feathers. The table was mysteriously replaced with an even nicer one, along with a written apology. I never did tell anyone how I managed that particular piece of revenge. I can't do anything that violates the restraining order, I tell him. Good thing you don't have to, but I do. Vince, relax. I'm not talking about breaking kneecaps. I'm talking about information gathering. You can't get near them, but I can, and information is power. He's right. I've been thinking like a victim instead of like someone who's been wronged. Clare and Elias want to play dirty? Fine, but they're amateurs, and I've got a professional on my team. What do you need from me? Everything you've got on both of them. Social media, addresses, schedules, financial information. I want to know what they eat for breakfast and where they buy their toilet paper. I spend the next 2 hours walking Vince through everything I've discovered. The affair timeline, Elias's apartment, Claire's new spending habits, their favorite restaurants. By the time we're done, he's got a complete dossier on their relationship. This is good stuff, he says, flipping through the printed photos and bank statements. But we need more. We need to know what they're really planning. How do we do that? Vince grins, and for a moment, I see the cop he used to be. Social engineering. Amazing what people will tell you if you ask the right questions the right way. Over the next week, Vince becomes my eyes and ears in Clare and Elias's world. He strikes up conversations with other gym members, befriends bartenders at their favorite spots, even chats up Claire's co-workers at the boutique fitness studio where she teaches. What he discovers is illuminating. Clare and Elias aren't just having an affair. They're planning a future together. They've been looking at apartments, talking about combining their businesses, even discussing marriage. But more importantly, they've been discussing me. Your wife's been telling people you're unstable, Vince reports over beers at a dive bar far from their usual haunts. Says you've been acting erratic for months, getting angry over small things, making her feel unsafe. That's bullshit. Of course it's bullshit. But she's been laying groundwork for this domestic violence claim for weeks, getting people to remember conversations where she seemed scared, documenting every argument you had. We barely argued until last week. Doesn't matter. She's rewriting history, and people believe what they want to believe. especially when it comes from a pretty woman who seems vulnerable. The scope of Claire's deception is staggering. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision to file a false report. This was a calculated campaign to destroy my reputation and position herself as the victim. There's more, Vince continues. Your boy Elias has been bragging about how he's going to help Claire upgrade her life. Apparently he's got plans for your house. My house? Your house. He's been telling people at the gym that once Claire divorces you, they're going to flip it and use the profits to open their own fitness studio. The rage I felt at the police station returns, but this time it's cold and focused. They're not just destroying my marriage. They're planning to steal my home and use it to fund their business venture. The house I've spent years renovating, the workshop where I built custom pieces for clients across the city. What else? Vince pulls out his phone and shows me a series of screenshots. Elias isn't as smart as he thinks he is. Look at this. The screenshots show text conversations between Elias and someone named Marcus, apparently another trainer at the gym. The messages are from 3 days ago, right after Claire filed the restraining order. Dude, you should have seen her bruises, one message reads. I might have gotten a little carried away, but she said it was worth it for the photos. My blood turns to ice. He gave her the bruises. Looks that way, and he was stupid enough to brag about it. The next message is even more damning. She's got her husband totally screwed up now. Restraining order, domestic violence allegations, the whole 9 yards. Guy doesn't even know what hit him. How did you get these? Marcus has a big mouth and a drinking problem. Couple of beers and some sympathetic listening, and he was showing me screenshots like we were best friends. I stare at the messages, feeling something shift inside me. This isn't just about an affair anymore. Claire and Elias conspired to frame me for domestic violence, using actual bruises that he inflicted on her. They turned their rough intimacy into evidence of my supposed abuse. We need to take this to the police. With what? Screenshots from a drunk guy's phone? They'll claim the messages are fake or taken out of context. We need more. Like what? Like them admitting it on record. Like financial records showing they've been planning this for months. Like proof that they're lying about everything. Vince is right. Screenshots aren't enough to overcome Claire's victim narrative, especially when she's got physical evidence to back up her story. We need something bigger. Something that exposes the entire conspiracy. So, what do? We make them overconfident. We let them think they've won, and we wait for them to get sloppy. I'm not good at waiting. Then it's a good thing I am. But I don't have to wait long, because the next morning I wake up to find my truck's tires slashed and wife beater spray painted across my garage door. The message is clear: stay away, or things will get worse. The problem is, I haven't been anywhere near Claire or Elias. I've been following the restraining order to the letter, staying home and working in my shop, which means this is harassment designed to provoke me into doing something stupid. I call Vince instead of the police. They're trying to bait you, he confirms after surveying the damage. Want you to lose your temper and do something that violates the restraining order. Why would they do that? Because right now, all they've got is a he-said-she-said domestic dispute. But if you violate the restraining order, especially in a way that seems threatening, they've got criminal charges. And criminal charges mean Claire gets everything in the divorce. I look at my vandalized truck and garage, feeling the trap closing around me. They're not just trying to steal my wife and my house, they're trying to destroy me completely. But they made one crucial mistake. They assumed I'd react like the boring, predictable husband they think I am. They assumed I'd get angry and do something stupid. Instead, I get calculating. Vince, I say, pulling out my phone to photograph the damage. How do you feel about going to war? He grins. Thought you'd never ask. Good, because I'm done playing defense. That afternoon, while I'm getting estimates to repair my truck and garage, I start planning my counterattack. Claire and Elias want to play dirty? They want to destroy my life for their own gain? Fine. But they're about to learn that boring, practical Gavin Rourke has been underestimated. And when you underestimate a man who builds things with his hands, who solves problems for a living, who's spent years learning patience and precision, you make a very dangerous mistake. They think they've won. They think I'm neutralized. They're about to discover exactly how wrong they are. Because the war isn't over. It's just beginning, and I intend to win. The beautiful thing about social media is that everyone thinks they're smarter than they are, especially when they're drunk on their own cleverness. Clare and Elias have been documenting their relationship online like teenagers, posting cryptic messages and inside jokes, thinking they're being subtle while broadcasting their affair to anyone paying attention. What they don't realize is that I've been paying very close attention. It takes me exactly 3 days to crack Claire's Instagram password. Not through any sophisticated hacking, just good old-fashioned social engineering and the fact that I know her better than anyone. Her password is spinning life with her birth year, because Claire has never been as creative as she thinks she is. Her private messages are a goldmine. Months of conversations with Elias planning their future, discussing my shortcomings, and worst of all, strategizing about the restraining order. There's even a message from 2 weeks ago. G is getting suspicious. Might need to speed up our timeline. Our timeline. Like my marriage was just another project to be managed and completed. But it's the group chat with Meera and her other friends that really gets my blood boiling. They've been discussing the situation like it's entertainment, with Claire playing the role of the brave woman escaping her boring husband for true love. Gavin never deserved you anyway, Meera wrote 3 days ago. You're so much happier with E. He's been getting weird lately, Claire replied, following me, accusing me of things. I'm actually scared of what he might do. Scared. She wrote that 2 days before filing the restraining order, laying the groundwork for her victim narrative among her friends. These people have been planning my destruction like a military campaign. But they made one crucial error. They documented everything. And now I have access to all of it. I spend the weekend creating a comprehensive dossier of their relationship, complete with timestamps, screenshots, and financial records showing Claire's secret spending. By Sunday night, I have enough evidence to prove she's been lying about everything, the affair timeline, the domestic violence allegations, even her reasons for leaving. But evidence isn't enough. I need a platform, a way to get this information in front of the people who matter. And thanks to Claire's social media habits, I know exactly where to find them. Monday morning, I create a new email account and start sending anonymous messages to key people in Clare and Elias's social circle. Not threats or accusations, just questions designed to make them think. To Meera. Did you know Claire's been lying about when her affair started? Check the timestamps on her photos. To Jenna from the birthday party. Interesting how Claire's bruises appeared right after her rough night with Elias. Coincidence? To Marcus, Elias's gym buddy. Your friend talks too much when he's drunk. Might want to warn him about bragging. I don't expect immediate results, but I don't have to wait long. By Tuesday afternoon, Vince reports that the gym is buzzing with gossip about Clare and Elias's relationship. People are starting to ask questions, comparing stories, noticing inconsistencies. Marcus is freaking out, Vince tells me over the phone. Keeps asking people if they've seen his text messages, if anyone's been talking to reporters. There are no reporters. He doesn't know that. Paranoia is a beautiful thing. Wednesday brings the first crack in their facade. Meera posts a cryptic Instagram story. When you realize someone you trusted has been lying to your face for months. It's deleted within an hour, but screenshots are forever. Thursday, Claire calls me for the first time since filing the restraining order. We need to talk, she says without preamble. Pretty sure your restraining order prohibits that. Don't be an ass, Gavin. Someone's been spreading rumors about me and Elias. What kind of rumors? You know what kind. I actually don't, because I've been very careful not to spread rumors. I've only shared facts, documented evidence and asked pointed questions, but Claire's paranoia is doing the work for me. Maybe people are just paying attention to things that were always there, I suggest. This is you, isn't it? You're trying to destroy my reputation. I'm not trying to do anything, Claire. I'm following your restraining order and staying away from you, just like you wanted. Bullshit. I know this is you. Prove it. The line goes quiet. She can't prove it because I haven't done anything illegal or traceable. I've just helped the truth find its way into the light. People are asking questions, she says finally. What kind of questions? About the timeline, about my bruises, about why I really left. And what are you telling them? The truth. Which version? Another long pause. Screw you, Gavin. She hangs up, but the damage is done. Claire's perfect victim narrative is starting to unravel, and she knows it. Friday afternoon, Vince calls with the news I've been waiting for. It's happening, he says. The fitness studio where Claire teaches. They're asking questions about her domestic violence claims. Apparently, someone sent them screenshots of her social media posts that contradict her timeline. What kind of screenshots? Posts from months ago showing her with unexplained bruises, tagged at locations she claimed she never went to, wearing jewelry she said you never bought her. They're starting to wonder if she's been lying about everything. The beauty of social media is that it creates a permanent record of your life, whether you realize it or not. Claire's been so busy documenting her secret relationship that she forgot to maintain her cover story. There's more, Vince continues. Elias is starting to panic. Word is, he's been asking around about lawyers, wanting to know if he can be charged as an accessory to filing a false police report. Can he? Absolutely, especially if there's evidence he helped plan it. Which there is, thanks to his text messages with Marcus and Claire's private Instagram conversations. They've created a paper trail that leads directly to conspiracy charges. Saturday morning, I wake up to find my phone buzzing with notifications. Someone has created a fake Instagram account called Truth About Claire and posted a comprehensive timeline of her affair, complete with photos, screenshots, and financial records. It's not me. I've been too careful to leave digital fingerprints. But someone with access to the information I've been sharing has decided to take things public. The post goes viral within hours, shared across multiple fitness and lifestyle accounts. Claire's friends are tagged, her co-workers are commenting, and the story is spreading like wildfire through her social media ecosystem. By noon, Claire is calling me again, sobbing. Make it stop, she begs. Please, Gavin, make it stop. Make what stop? You know what? The posts, the messages, the harassment. People are calling me a liar and a whore. I can't make anything stop, Claire. I don't control the internet. This is destroying my life. The irony is breathtaking. How does it feel? What? Having your life destroyed by someone else's actions. Having people you trust turn against you. Having your reputation ruined by lies and manipulation. She's quiet for a long moment. I never meant for it to go this far. Yes, you did. You planned every step of this. From the affair, to the restraining order, to stealing my house. You just didn't plan on getting caught. I'm sorry. No, you're not. You're sorry you got caught. There's a difference. What do you want from me? I want you to tell the truth. I want you to admit you lied about the domestic violence. I want you to drop the restraining order and stop trying to steal my life. And if I don't, then this is just the beginning. She hangs up, but I know she'll call back. Because Claire's perfect plan is falling apart, and she's realizing that her boring, practical husband might not be as easy to destroy as she thought. Sunday brings the coup de grace. Someone, definitely not me, but someone with excellent timing, releases a video compilation of Claire and Elias's public displays of affection, set to a soundtrack of their private messages about destroying my life. The video is shared thousands of times within hours. Claire's fitness studio posts a statement distancing themselves from her. Elias's gym starts an internal investigation. Their friends begin choosing sides, and most of them aren't choosing Clare and Elias. Monday morning, I get a call from Detective Martinez. "Mr. Rourke, we need to discuss your wife's restraining order." "What about it?" "New evidence has come to light regarding her initial complaint. We'd like you to come in and answer some questions." "Am I under arrest?" "No, sir. But we have reason to believe the original complaint may have been inaccurate." "Inaccurate." "Police speak for, your wife is a lying sociopath who tried to frame you." At the station, Martinez shows me printouts of the social media evidence that's been circulating. The timeline inconsistencies, the financial records, the text messages between Clare and Elias discussing their plan. "Did you create or distribute any of this material?" she asks. "No, ma'am. I've been following the restraining order to the letter." "But you had access to some of this information." "I had access to my own bank statements and my wife's social media accounts, yes. We shared passwords for most of our online accounts." "And you shared this information with others?" I choose my words carefully. "I may have mentioned some inconsistencies in my wife's story to friends and family, people who were concerned about my well-being after the false accusations." Martinez nods. "Mr. Rourke, based on new evidence, we're recommending that the district attorney's office investigate your wife for filing a false police report. The restraining order will be lifted pending that investigation." "What kind of evidence?" She slides a folder across the table. "Text messages recovered from a third party's phone. Messages between your wife and her boyfriend discussing their plan to frame you for domestic violence, including evidence that he inflicted the bruises she claimed came from you." Marcus. The drunk gym rat finally sobered up enough to realize he was an accessory to a felony and decided to cooperate with police rather than go down with the ship. "There's more," Martinez continues. "Financial records showing your wife has been planning to leave you for months, including consultations with divorce attorneys and real estate agents. This wasn't a spontaneous decision based on fear. It was a calculated plan to maximize her financial gain. I look through the evidence, seeing my marriage's destruction laid out in black and white. But instead of sadness, I feel vindication. Clare and Elias thought they could destroy me with lies and manipulation. Instead, they destroyed themselves." "What happens now?" I ask. "Now we build a case against them for conspiracy, filing false reports, and potentially extortion. Your wife's looking at felony charges, and her boyfriend could be charged as an accessory. I should feel satisfied. Justice is being served, the truth is coming out, and the people who tried to destroy my life are facing consequences. But I'm not done yet. Because Clare and Elias didn't just try to steal my money and my house. They tried to steal my reputation, my freedom, and my future. They turned my friends against me, made me look like a monster, and nearly destroyed everything I've built. They wanted to play games with my life. Now it's my turn to play games with theirs. And the final game is going to be the most satisfying of all. The thing about building furniture for a living is that you learn to see the structural weaknesses in everything, not just wood and joints, but systems, plans, people. Clare and Elias built their conspiracy like amateurs, with obvious flaws and no contingency planning. Now that their house of cards is collapsing, they're making increasingly desperate moves, which is exactly what I've been waiting for. Tuesday morning, Vince calls with news that makes my coffee taste like victory. "Your wife's been busy," he says. "Spent yesterday meeting with 3 different lawyers, trying to find someone who'll take her case." "Any takers?" "2 of them kicked her out once they saw the evidence against her. The 3rd one's a bottom feeder who specializes in hopeless cases. Word is, he's already asking for a huge retainer because he knows this is going to get ugly." "How much?" $50,000, up front." I whistle. Claire doesn't have $50,000, not after months of spending our savings on her affair, which means she's getting desperate, and desperate people make stupid decisions. There's more, Vince continues. She's been calling around trying to borrow money, hit up her parents, her sister, even reached out to some of her ex-boyfriends. Let me guess, no takers. Would you loan money to someone facing felony fraud charges? Fair point. Claire's social media destruction has been thorough and public. Everyone in her circle knows she lied about the domestic violence, and most of them are more concerned about protecting themselves than helping her. What about Elias? That's where it gets interesting. Seems like Prince Charming is having second thoughts about his damsel in distress. This is news. Meaning he's been telling people at the gym that he had no idea Claire was going to file false police reports. Claims he thought the bruises were from her yoga classes. The same bruises he bragged about giving her? Amazing how memory works when felony charges are involved. He's trying to distance himself from the whole thing, painting himself as another victim of Claire's manipulation. The rats are abandoning the sinking ship. I almost feel sorry for Claire. Almost. She trusted her future to a man who's now throwing her under the bus to save his own skin. Any word on when charges will be filed? Soon. Martinez says the DA's office is putting together a comprehensive case. They want to make an example of this one, show that false domestic violence allegations won't be tolerated. After I hang up with Vince, I sit in my workshop and consider my next move. The legal system is handling the criminal charges, and the court of public opinion has already rendered its verdict. Clare and Elias are facing financial ruin, social exile, and potential jail time. But there's still one piece of unfinished business: my house. According to the divorce papers Claire filed last week, she's still claiming half of everything, including the house I've spent years renovating. Her lawyer, the bottom feeder who took her case, is arguing that regardless of her criminal charges, she's entitled to community property under California law. Technically, he's right, but technically doesn't account for the evidence I've been saving for exactly this situation. I spend Wednesday morning in my converted war room, formerly Claire's yoga space, organizing financial records that tell a very different story than the one her lawyer is trying to sell. Bank statements showing Claire's secret credit cards, funded by cash advances against our joint accounts. Receipts for expensive gifts she bought Elias using money from our home equity line. Documentation of her plan to flip our house to fund their business venture. What Claire's lawyer doesn't realize is that California law has exceptions to community property rules, especially when one spouse has been secretly depleting marital assets for personal gain. Claire didn't just have an affair, she embezzled from our marriage to fund it. Thursday afternoon, I meet with my own lawyer, Sarah Chen, a sharp-eyed family attorney who specializes in high-conflict divorces. This is impressive work, she says, reviewing my documentation. How long did it take you to compile all this? Months. I started tracking expenses when I noticed money disappearing from our accounts. And you didn't confront your wife about it? I was hoping there was an innocent explanation. Sarah nods. Lucky for you, there wasn't. This evidence shows a clear pattern of financial fraud. Your wife used marital assets to fund an extramarital relationship, then lied about it in her divorce filing. What does that mean for the property division? It means she's not entitled to half of anything. In fact, you have grounds to demand full restitution for the money she stole, plus attorney's fees and punitive damages. The irony is perfect. Claire tried to steal my house through false accusations and legal manipulation. Instead, her financial fraud is going to cost her any claim to our shared assets. There's more, I tell Sarah, pulling out another folder. She's been planning this for months, including consultations with real estate agents about selling the house. Sarah flips through the evidence. Emails between Claire and agents, market analyses, even floor plans with notes about renovations that would maximize sale value. It's clear she's been treating our home like a commodity to be liquidized. This is premeditation, Sarah says. She wasn't leaving because of domestic violence or marital problems. She was executing a business plan. Can we use this in court? We can use all of it. Between the criminal charges, the financial fraud, and the evidence of premeditation, your wife's lawyer is going to recommend she settle out of court. What kind of settlement? The kind where she walks away with nothing and considers herself lucky to avoid additional civil charges. I leave Sarah's office feeling something I haven't experienced in months. Hope. Not just hope for vindication or financial recovery, but hope for a future that doesn't include Claire's manipulation and lies. But my good mood doesn't last long, because Friday morning I wake up to find my workshop broken into. Nothing major is stolen, just some tools and materials. But the message is clear. Someone wants me to know they can get to me anytime they want. The police dust for fingerprints and file a report, but I already know who's responsible. Clare and Elias are getting desperate, and desperate people do desperate things. What they don't realize is that I've been preparing for this escalation. I call Vince, who arrives within 20 minutes with a gym bag full of equipment I probably don't want to know about. "Time to upgrade your security," he says, surveying the damage. "These assholes are done playing games. What do you recommend?" "Cameras, motion sensors, reinforced locks. Make this place harder to break into than Fort Knox." We spend the afternoon installing a comprehensive security system, complete with remote monitoring and automatic alerts. By evening, my workshop is better protected than most banks. "What about the house?" Vince asks. "Same treatment. If they want to play games, I'm going to make sure I win." That night, as I'm reviewing the security camera footage from the break-in, I spot something interesting. The intruder knew exactly where to look for valuable tools, suggesting inside knowledge of my workshop layout. But only a few people have been in here recently, and most of them are friends or clients. Then I remember, Claire brought Elias here once, about 2 months ago, claiming she wanted to show him my work. At the time, I thought she was being supportive. Now I realize she was conducting reconnaissance. The break-in wasn't random vandalism, it was intelligence gathering. They wanted to see what evidence I might have stored in the workshop, what kind of security I had, how easy it would be to destroy anything that might hurt their case. But they made a crucial mistake. By breaking in, they've escalated from civil fraud to criminal harassment. And thanks to my new security system, I have them on video. Saturday morning, I review the footage with Detective Martinez, who's become surprisingly helpful since Claire's story started falling apart. "That's definitely breaking and entering," she confirms, watching the masked figure Jimmy my workshop lock. "Can you identify the intruder?" "Not from the video, but I have a pretty good idea who sent them." "Your wife and her boyfriend?" "They're the only ones with motive and inside knowledge of the workshop layout." Martinez nods. "We'll add this to their growing list of charges. At this point, they're looking at serious prison time." "How serious?" "Conspiracy, filing false reports, financial fraud, harassment, breaking and entering. We're talking years, not months." As Martinez leaves with copies of the security footage, my phone rings. Unknown number, but I recognize the voice immediately. "We need to meet," Claire says without preamble. "I thought we weren't supposed to contact each other." "The restraining order was dropped, remember?" She's right. With the criminal investigation underway, the court lifted the restraining order that was based on her false allegations. "What do you want, Claire?" "I want to end this. All of it. The criminal charges, the divorce, the public humiliation. I want to make a deal." "What kind of deal?" "I'll admit I lied about the domestic violence. I'll drop all claims to the house and your business. I'll even pay back the money I spent on other things." "In exchange for?" "In exchange for you calling off your dogs. Stop the social media campaign. Stop feeding information to the police. Stop destroying what's left of my life." The desperation in her voice is palpable. Claire's perfect plan has become a nightmare, and she's willing to surrender everything to make it stop. "Where do you want to meet?" "Somewhere public. Somewhere safe." Safe. She's still playing the victim, even while trying to negotiate her surrender. "The coffee shop on 5th Street. 1 hour. I'll be there. As I hang up, I realize this is it. The end game I've been working toward. Claire wants to surrender, to admit her lies, and give me everything I'm entitled to. But I'm not interested in her surrender anymore. I'm interested in her complete and total defeat. Because this was never just about money or property or even justice. This was about respect. About showing Clare and Elias and everyone else that boring, practical Gavin Rourke isn't someone you can manipulate and discard without consequences. They wanted to play games with my life. Now I'm going to show them what happens when you lose. The coffee shop meeting is exactly what I expected. Claire looking haggard and desperate, clutching a folder of legal documents like a shield. She's lost weight, her perfect yoga instructor glow replaced by the pallor of someone who hasn't slept in weeks. Elias is nowhere to be seen, which tells me everything I need to know about the strength of their grand romance. You look terrible, I say, sliding into the booth across from her. Thanks. You look good. She's right. I've been sleeping better, eating better, working out more. Turns out getting rid of a lying, cheating wife is great for your health. What's in the folder? Claire pushes it across the table. Everything you wanted. A full confession about the domestic violence allegations, financial restitution agreements, property settlement giving you the house and business. I flip through the documents. They're comprehensive and legally binding. Claire's complete surrender in writing. What about Elias? What about him? Is he part of this deal? Claire's face hardens. Elias is no longer a factor. Meaning? Meaning he threw me under the bus the moment criminal charges became a possibility. Turns out, Prince Charming isn't interested in princesses facing felony convictions. I almost laugh. So he abandoned you. He protected himself. Can't say I blame him. I can. You destroyed our marriage for him, and he left you to face the consequences alone. Claire's eyes fill with tears, but I feel nothing. No sympathy, no satisfaction, just cold indifference. I know you hate me, she says quietly. I know I deserve it. But can we please just end this? I'll sign whatever you want, admit whatever you want me to admit. Just make it stop. Make what stop? The harassment, the social media posts, the constant humiliation. I'm not harassing you, Claire. I'm just not protecting you anymore. It's the same thing. No, it's not. For years I protected you from consequences, made excuses for your behavior, covered for your mistakes. Now I'm letting you face the results of your own choices. She wipes her eyes with a coffee shop napkin. I never meant for it to go this far. Yes, you did. You planned every step of this, from the affair to the false accusations to stealing my house. You just didn't plan on getting caught. I was unhappy. So was I. But I didn't lie, cheat, steal, or try to frame you for crimes you didn't commit. Claire stares at her coffee cup. What do you want me to say? I want you to say the truth. Just once, I want you to be honest about what you did and why you did it. She's quiet for a long moment. Then, I wanted out. I was bored and restless and tired of being married to someone who didn't excite me anymore. Elias made me feel alive in a way you hadn't in years. So you had an affair. So I had an affair. And when you started getting suspicious, I panicked. Elias said we needed to control the narrative, make you look like the bad guy so I could leave without losing everything. So you lied to the police. So I lied to the police, and to our friends, and to my family, and to everyone who would listen. And the bruises? Claire's voice drops to a whisper. Elias gave them to me. We thought if I had physical evidence, no one would question the story. There it is. The full confession, spoken aloud in a public place. I'm recording this conversation on my phone, of course, but more importantly, Claire is finally telling the truth. Do you understand what you've done? I ask. I've ruined everything. You've committed multiple felonies. You've destroyed your reputation, your career, your relationships. You've thrown away 8 years of marriage for a man who abandoned you the moment things got difficult. I know. And for what? Because you were bored? Claire looks up at me, and for a moment I see the woman I married, vulnerable, confused, human. I thought I deserved better. Better than what? Better than ordinary, better than predictable, better than a life that felt like it was already over at 34. I nod slowly. You know what, Claire? You're right. You do deserve better. She blinks, surprised. You deserve a life that excites you, a partner who makes you feel alive, a future that doesn't feel predetermined. You deserve all of that. Then why? Because you went about getting it in the worst possible way. Instead of talking to me about our problems, you had an affair. Instead of asking for a divorce, you tried to frame me for domestic violence. Instead of being honest about wanting out, you tried to steal everything I've worked for. I was scared. You were greedy. There's a difference. Claire signs the documents with shaking hands, officially giving up any claim to our shared life. As she slides them back across the table, she looks like she wants to say something else. What? I used to love you, she says quietly. I want you to know that. Whatever else happened, whatever I did, I used to love you. I know. I used to love you too. What happened to us? I consider the question seriously. We stopped trying. We got comfortable and lazy and started taking each other for granted. The difference is, when I realized we were in trouble, I wanted to fix it. You wanted to replace it. Claire nods, tears streaming down her face. I'm sorry, Gavin, for all of it. I know you are, but sorry doesn't undo what you did. She stands to leave, then pauses. What happens now? Now you face the consequences of your choices. The criminal charges, the civil penalties, the public humiliation, all of it. And you do it without dragging me down with you. And after that? After that, you rebuild your life. Find a way to be better than you were. Learn from this. Claire walks away, leaving me alone with my coffee and a folder full of documents that officially end our marriage. I should feel victorious, but mostly I feel empty. Not sad, just empty, like a house after the furniture's been removed. My phone buzzes. Text from Vince. How'd it go? It's over, I type back. Good. Drinks tonight? Rain check. I need to go home and process this. But I don't go straight home. Instead, I drive to the beach, park overlooking the ocean, and sit in my truck watching waves crash against the shore. It's the first time in months I've felt truly alone, and it's not unpleasant. My phone rings. Sarah Chen, my lawyer. I have news, she says. The district attorney's office is moving forward with criminal charges against your wife and her boyfriend. Conspiracy, filing false reports, fraud, the works. How long are we talking about? If they're convicted on all counts, 3 to 5 years, possibly more with the financial fraud enhancements. 3 to 5 years. Claire's going to prison because she was bored with our marriage. There's more, Sarah continues. They want to use your case as a precedent for cracking down on false domestic violence allegations. Make an example of what happens when people abuse the system. Meaning? Meaning this is going to be very public, very thorough, and very unforgiving. After I hang up, I sit in my truck watching the sunset and thinking about the past 6 months. Claire's affair, the birthday party humiliation, the false accusations, the legal battles, all of it could have been avoided if she'd just been honest about wanting out. But she wasn't honest. She was calculating, manipulative, and ultimately self-destructive. And now she's going to pay the price for years to come. My phone buzzes again. This time it's a number I don't recognize, but the voice is familiar. This is all your fault, Elias says without preamble. Is it? Claire would never have done any of this if you just let her go quietly. Claire did this because she chose to lie and cheat and steal. I just refused to be her victim. You destroyed her life. She destroyed her own life. I just stopped protecting her from the consequences. You're going to regret this. Is that a threat? It's a promise. The line goes dead. I stare at my phone, processing this new development. Elias is apparently not as smart as he thinks he is, making threatening phone calls to someone who's been recording everything for months. I immediately call Detective Martinez and report the threat. She promises to add it to Elias's growing list of charges and suggests I maintain my security precautions. These people are desperate, she warns. Desperate people do stupid things. She's right, but I'm ready for whatever stupid thing they try next. That night, I'm in my workshop reviewing the signed settlement documents when my security system alerts me to motion outside. The cameras show two figures approaching the building, both wearing dark clothing and moving carefully. I call 911, then Vince, then settle in to watch the show. Claire and Elias, because of course it's them, spend 20 minutes trying to break into my workshop. They're clearly looking for something specific, probably evidence that could hurt them in the criminal trial. What they don't realize is that everything important is stored digitally and backed up in multiple locations. They also don't realize that my security system is broadcasting their break-in attempt live to the police, who arrive just as they're jimmying the lock on my workshop door. The arrest is almost anticlimactic. Claire breaks down sobbing, Elias tries to run and gets tackled in my driveway, and both of them are charged with breaking and entering, attempted burglary, and violating the terms of their bail. I watch from my kitchen window as they're loaded into separate police cars, Claire still crying, Elias shouting about harassment and false accusations. The irony is beautiful. Detective Martinez knocks on my door as the police cars are pulling away. "Well," she says, "that was stupid. Impressively so. They just turned misdemeanor fraud charges into felony burglary. Their lawyers are going to love this. Any idea what they were looking for? Probably evidence, documents, anything they could use to discredit your testimony. They're facing serious prison time, and people do desperate things when they're cornered." After Martinez leaves, I walk through my workshop, checking for damage. They didn't get far. The reinforced locks and security system stopped them before they could steal anything significant. But their attempt tells me everything I need to know about their state of mind. They're not just desperate anymore. They're delusional, still thinking they can somehow turn this around, make me the villain, escape the consequences of their actions. But there are no escapes left. No more lies to tell, no more people to manipulate, no more schemes to try. Claire and Elias are going to prison, and everyone knows exactly why. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. This isn't over. I screenshot the message and forward it to Martinez. Then I pour myself a beer, sit on my back porch, and listen to the sound of my neighborhood settling into evening quiet. Rex wanders over and puts his head on my knee, and I scratch behind his ears while I think about the future. For the first time in years, it feels wide open. No Claire to manage, no marriage to fix, no lies to navigate around. Just me, my work, my friends, and whatever comes next. In the distance, thunder rumbles, promising rain. I smile and take another sip of beer, watching lightning flicker across the sky. Tomorrow, Claire and Elias will wake up in jail cells, facing felony charges and years in prison. Their friends will read about their arrest in the morning news. Their families will have to explain why their children are criminals. But tonight, I'm sitting on my back porch with my dog, drinking beer and watching storms roll in over the city I love. And for the first time in months, everything feels exactly as it should be. The truth or dare war is over. I won.